So I am Sakita's partner, and we're arguing to abolish homeschooling. In response to Sakita's first point, which was that homeschoolers are falling behind in school, and that there is no way to monitor the parents' teaching, and there's less structure in homeschooling. She said that nothing is there to stop families from moving away to avoid the fine or anything like that. I don't really see a problem with that. If the family moves, then that's their choice to move to homeschool their children. And also, there are around 198,000 homeschool kids, so how do we regulate that? So that sounds like a lot, but it's really not. It makes up about, say, 2 to 3% of all of the kids in California public schools. So in order to take care of that, you have to realize that most parents who are homeschooling their children are doing it for their children's benefit. They're not the kind of people that are going to go around breaking laws or doing something to avoid this. They would simply probably find a legal way to get around it, whether that's going to a charter school or some sort of program where there is also a teacher involved. So to back up Sakina's point, parents who are teaching are not required to have a credential. Unless they're using the tutoring option under the California homeschooling laws, they are not required to have a credential, but when children are enrolled in some type of public program, their work is supervised by credentialed teachers. Most of the teaching, of course, is done at home, but parents do not need credentials themselves. Homeschooling, parents who are using the private school option don't need a credential, as stated. The California government website that outlines the requirements for homeschooling offers links to what's been deemed appropriate education, but it doesn't require any state testing to prove that the children are receiving that level of education. When it's talked about testing that homeschool kids are proved to do better, that testing, it's actually not very sound because the testing is administered by parents. The government doesn't require testing. They aren't getting the same state testing that kids at public schools are getting, so it can't be lined up directly. They're taking their testing at home most of the time. There's usually not any sort of comparison. And then data from the National Center for Education and Statistics suggests that the homeschool population is significantly more diverse than the samples that are commonly used in studies that show homeschool achievement, meaning that these studies likely miss whole groups of homeschoolers. So most of these studies are done, their kids are volunteering for these studies most of the time. It's not actually like they just choose random variables. So when the kids are volunteering, it's mostly upper class children that would most likely succeed no matter what school they went at because their parents would ensure that. She stated that homeschoolers' acceptance rates to college are higher than those of public schools, which since there's a way smaller group of homeschoolers than there are kids in public schools, that should be true. It's 200,000 compared to millions. We also want to state that Sakina said charter schools were the alternative to homeschooling that we were hoping parents would enroll their children in. There are about 630 kids enrolled in charter schools in California, which makes up a tenth of the total K through 12 public school population. And as of fall of 2017, there were over 1,200 charter schools in California. California has the most charter schools and more students enrolled in charter schools than any other state. So there is open opportunity. These charter schools offer smaller class sizes. They offer, excuse me, they offer more direct contact with teachers, more help. It also provides more, like they can get their textbooks from the charter school. They have more ability to do things such as like testing. Subjects like chemistry would be very difficult to do at home. You can't learn that in a home setting. It's much easier if you're able to go to a facility with a trained teacher or someone who knows the subject well and learn that. And it also gives a set curriculum, so students are not only being taught what their parents want them to know, it gives them accountability that homeschooling alone does not. If you give the students the option to learn in a classroom setting and at home, so they are not strictly stuck 5 days a week, 8 hours a day stuck in a school. It's not like a public school where, or it is considered a public school, but it's not like a public school where it's large amounts of kids, where they're subject to bullying. If a parent wants, they can spend less time at an actual school and more time at home, but they still get the social interaction.